9:36.
John Cass, Jake Hartford, 89 WLS. Your calls, 591-8900. I'm trying to do like the radio voice thing where you raise your voice and lower it. And I see people at the office and they're like, what, are you weird? But that's how I think you're supposed to talk on this.
All right, without going into a lot of details, John, let me just say what I'm going to say.
Just get it out.
Let me just say it, and don't you add anything to it, because I just want to be very careful what I say here. Earlier, I said we were working on a story. We had a tip that we always check out first before we say things, that there was a plane crash along the lakefront. It turned out there was no plane crash along the lakefront, but a TV show is filming there today. So if you're driving by, don't be gullible and think that something bad happened. It's a TV show.
But I don't think we said there was a plane crash.
No, we didn't say that. But that's what we said we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to check it out first, and we checked it out, and that's what's going on. So if you hear people tweeting and saying, "Oh, there is no plane crash," it's a TV show.
And you know what, Jake? You know what the
Did
rule...
I say not to add to this? Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
You know what? The fact is that I'm going to add to it. The rule of newspapers and news in this city: if your mother says she loves you, check it out. My wife hates me every time I say that. She's like, "Shut up! I hate that."
I thought the rule was if your mother tells you she loves you, check to make sure she's really your mother.
That's your own personal issue. But in terms of the facts, check the facts before you go with something. That's all I'm saying.
Now, we started out today. The governor apparently is not well liked.
I like him.
I said hi to him this morning when he came up to me, and we had a pleasant conversation until I asked him to be on the show with us. And then he had to leave. But
probably because of you. He likes me. As long as he doesn't come with the lime jello and the pineapple chunks.
But apparently he's not doing well in the polls. He's the least liked governor of all 50 governors.
That's terrible, man. Dude, come on, Pat Quinn.
Yeah. But then we start talking about insurance and driver's licenses for
a beef session
illegals.
In Illinois.
Sandy in Downers Grove. Good morning, Sandy.
Hi, good morning. I really like your program. I miss Don and Roma, but two things. There's an article in the People magazine December 3rd of the jobs in North Dakota. 1,850-bed unit Capital Lodge in Tioga, Tioga, North Dakota. People are going up there to work on the gas and the oil fields, and they have temporary housing. They have 1,850 beds, 14 by 18 room, and includes internet, flat screen TV, bed and a dresser. That's where that guy should go.
All right.
Do you have
a 5-page spread?
Do you have an investment in this lodge?
No, but I just heard. I was calling about the driver's license instead, and I just remembered the article about the oil fields in.
Well, thanks, Sandy.
And you know what, Sandy? And it isn't just the oil fields. They had a flood there last year, so they're doing a lot of rebuilding.
Yeah.
They can't get enough people. It's thousands of men have left families behind to work.
If
in
you
the
listen, if people listen, I'm going to give you the economic tip of the decade. Okay.
Okay, but let me tell you
Here
about
it
the
is.
driver's license.
Let her speak first, John.
Okay, Sandy. I'm
John.
sorry.
Yes,
Jake's
go ahead.
Jake's making me cry now. Okay.
You get your driver's license, you take a test. You have to have a written test first. And I have seen personally people who can't, whether they're illegal or not, the majority seem to be Hispanic, cannot read, cannot take the test.
Well, they give it to them in their native language.
No. This is a written test. You sit there at the Secretary of State and you take it. And I have seen people come in with their grandkids or somebody that's going to read it to them. If you can't read the word STOP, how are you going to be able to know what it means? And yet they all pass, and they all get their driver's license. And I agree, 110% is strictly for votes.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
But you know what?
She doesn't get the tip now.
Anybody ever have any grandparents? I mean, when I was a kid...
Yeah, but don't they give it in your native language? I know you can get it in Polish. You can get it in different languages.
When I was a kid, there was no native... There was English, right? Or really Chicago is what they spoke. And we'd all translate for our uncles, our aunts, and, that's what you do as an immigrant family.
But that's...
I don't think it's that terrible. People know, stop. They know green means go, okay?
Oh, not some of the people I've seen lately. There's some people driving out there. I don't know how they got their licenses.
You don't care about that economic tip, do you?
No.
Get in a car, go to North Dakota, and open a restaurant. That's my tip.
Warren in Naperville. Good morning, Warren.
Good morning.
Hey, Warren.
Yeah, there's a few things you didn't tell them about those jobs in North Dakota. There's a lot of them, and they pay well. But it's non-union, so they can fire you if you don't work real easy. You have to pass a drug test, so you got to do that to get a job. And then you can't take your family with you because there's no place to live because you have to live in a man camp because they don't have enough housing up there.
Well, so far you haven't given me the downside. It's all upside so far.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it. The only downside is they do have winter there, worse than Alaska. And the joke about the guy coming out of the rake and the driller says, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to get warmer gloves." And he says, "Well, where's your gloves?" And he says, "Oklahoma." And so that's the only downside is the winter. However, you can get the jobs easier in the winter because fewer people go up there.
There you go. Thank you, Warren.
Okay, there you go.
Brian, the earlier caller is looking for a job.
There you go. Go up there.
Get a job.
Find a job.
Dennis in Chicago. Good morning, Dennis.
Yes, good morning. I'm calling about the driver's license for illegal aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't believe it's for safety reasons at all. There's no way you're going to convince me that it's for safety reasons. I'll tell you why. Illinois already has a law that it's illegal to drive without insurance. When you go to renew your plates, on the renewal form, there's a spot for your driver's license number. Have the state make it mandatory that no matter where you go to renew your plates, you must provide that number. Also, make it mandatory that you have to have a current policy, not just provide them with the number and who the insurer is. Have them come in, walk in with a current policy. Now, it wouldn't cost any more. Now, you would get all these people that don't have driver's licenses off the road because they couldn't renew their plates, they couldn't drive. The state, the insurance companies, it would be mandatory for the insurance companies to notify the state when your insurance was stopped. So therefore, you can revoke the plate.
Well, they do that now.
The state already has where they are notified on certain licenses that they issue. The insurance has to remain current. If it's not, they get notified, and then your license.
I understand that. Where are you going with all this, Dennis?
Well, that's the easy solution. We're saying that we want them to have driver's license.
Yeah, but here's
the roads safe.
Well, Dennis, here's why they have to have a driver's license. The long and short of it is, if you don't have a license and you get stopped for speeding, they have to put you in jail till you go before a judge and you go through that whole process because now you're charged for driving without a license plus speeding. Now, if you have a license and get stopped for speeding, they write you a ticket, you go on your way, and you promise to show up in court. So there's a lot of extra paperwork and money that costs if somebody doesn't have a license when they get stopped.
I wrote a story earlier this summer about a man who was killed walking across Kedzie.
Can we talk about it when we come back?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The clock is our friend.
Clock is our friend. 9:45, time for traffic on the 5.
When you want Chicago's classic hits, turn to 94.7 WLS. For traffic and weather info, tune into 890 AM WLS for traffic and weather first on the 5s when you need it most.
9:50, want to remind you when you see news happening, call the 89 News Tip Hotline. Help make 89 WS the most plugged-in news department in Chicago. See it, say it. The WS News Tip Hotline number is 312-236-0507, but only if it's real news.
Real good news.
All right.
That has been checked.
We're going to get back to a couple calls here, but
yeah,
the story that you wrote the column on.
Oh, a couple years ago, or last January, I wrote a story about a man crossing Kedzie Avenue. His name was McCann, and he was hit by an alleged drunk driver, two-time drunk driver, Saul Chavez, an illegal immigrant. Chavez, I don't know how you get a DUI the first time and still be in the country, but anyway, that's what happened. They kept him in jail. Immigration authorities did not want him released because they were checking out whether he was illegal or not. The county board, in one of those amnesty or feel-good programs, wanted him released, and he was released, and he disappeared in New Mexico. And there's a man dead. Nobody stands trial. And basically, people are told, tough. So there's all sorts of things.
Jim on the north side. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Of course, this driver's license for insurance is all BS. I have insurance. If I get involved in an accident with someone who doesn't have insurance, they come after my insurance company. If they haven't got insurance, I have to go after my insurance company.
Yeah, but you pay extra for uninsured motorist coverage.
I understand that you have to have it because of the problems involved. So the bottom line is I am paying for the insurance of these other people anyway. You want to solve the problem? Hold me harmless for any liability for the car, the driver, and the occupants if they haven't got insurance. I got insurance, I'm fine. You don't have insurance, well, you're out of luck. That's simple and takes care of the problem.
Do the math. Who pays?
Well, my insurance pays for me. If you don't have insurance, you get an accident. Well, you're just you're just hanging out there in the wind. That's
okay.
your problem.
Oh, yeah, your insurance pays for you, but if the other person doesn't have insurance, but you're still going to have to pay the deductible. If you get in an accident with somebody who has insurance, they're going to pay their insurance. And it's their fault, not yours. Their insurance is going to pay your whole coverage. You're not going to have to pay your deductible.
Well, the deductible is a small end of it.
Well, depends what your deductible is. A lot of days, nowadays, because of people with these economic times, people are carrying $500, $1,000 deductibles.
Can you load a paint gun for $500? Not much more. The problem is if they haven't got insurance, they're just out of luck. That's the deal. I bet your insurance rates would go down if you didn't have full liability for people who didn't have insurance.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they would, but they don't, and that's the problem.
Well, that's a simple way of solving the problem, rather than going through all these. Well, they're just making this stuff up so they can give illegal aliens driver's license. That's the whole point behind the whole thing.
Thank you, Jim. Let's go to Matt in Dearborn Avenue. Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
Hey, Matt.
Denny McCann was one of my dad's best friends.
That was the victim in the car crash I was talking about, right?
Yeah. And my dad's just completely disgusted with the whole court system that even let him out. And I didn't realize he was on a second DUI. So, I mean, that's even worse.
Yeah, Tony Preckwinkle and Jesus Garcia and everyone else came up, and they had all good reasons why I was wrong to even write it, but I wasn't wrong. And the point being, I'm not trying to go, I'm kind of ambivalent on the immigration thing. I think maybe we should just go with the amnesty, and you can't deport 10 million people, but you get pinched for a traffic issue where someone's killed and it's a homicide, and you're blowing .29 on the breathometer. I think it's time to keep you in there.
Yeah,
and they let them out. I think because they want to show that they're down with the vote, and that was wrong.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll agree with that.
Thanks, Matt.
9:55, time for WOS Traffic on the Fives.
News happens every minute. If you see something the rest of Chicago needs to know about, call the 89 WLS News Tip Hotline at 312-236-0507.
John and Jake right here. Hour number 1 just about done. And then Lou Dobbs right after the news at 10:07. The next hour. I don't know what we're going to talk about there.
I don't know. I kind of like where people call in and just talk.
I was reading Robert Feeder in Time Out.
Oh, yeah?
In his column today. And a lot of interesting stuff in there, but
Are we in it?
He talks about John Dempsey and the new show starting Monday right here on 89 WLS. But he also mentioned what got my attention was Minnie Minoso. Had his birthday yesterday. He was 90 years. He's 90 years old.
Yeah,
and I guess Minnie still drives.
He was in a car. I don't know if he was in a car, but I mean, he was in a car. I don't know if he was driving. But someone told me that the American flag was upside down on the aerial, the antenna.
When you're 90 years old, there's a lot of stuff that's upside down.
He was a great player. Last time I saw him was at Sox at the offices at Sox Park. He was stealing candy out of the candy dish And they're like, Minnie, and he grabbed a couple more and ran out laughing. It must have been about 89. He's just a funny guy.
More to come, second hour right here on 89 WLS.
Oh, by the way, you're welcome.